So, I've gotten a request to do a Piggy ripoff series where I'm going to be basically remaking Piggy and do a step-by-step tutorial on how to make a game such as Piggy. Um, Now, if this does do very decently well, decent, if this series does go well, I will most likely make a series specifically where I uh, remake popular Roblox games and show you how you can do that as well. However, that's only if this goes well, because I'm not going to spend 12 hours doing this just to not get anything in return. Alright, let's get into this. Right. So first things first, I'm in an empty base plate. I'm not going to worry about any of the building right now, because the building happens once I get the core framework. Because there's no point to build something if you have nothing to no scripts to work. So I'm gonna start by organizing my game into folders. Uh, you know, just so everything's organized. You don't have to do this, but it'll definitely help, especially if you're planning on actually doing Roblox game development. All right, so I think first things first, I need to deal with. So I'm gonna go ahead and just start with the player. Um, so I'm gonna make a script. It's gonna be called player init. So player initiation. Then I'm gonna make a meta table. Which, if you don't know what a meta table is, I literally have a whole series on meta tables. So you have no excuse on why you haven't learned them, because I have at least 5 or 6 videos explaining in detail about what meta tables are, how to use them, and all the functions. So I expect you to come in here with knowledge on what I'm doing. So this is going to be called no, it's more of a character class though. Alright, I'll do player class. So this is going to handle all of the actual player like functions. So when we load their data, right? When they actually get put into when they purchase something, this will have their inventory, this will have everything that they need, right? So I made a module script and I called it player class. I expect you know how a module works, because I'm not going to explain how a module works. So I'm gonna make a function called player class.new. This will create a new meta table. So I'm gonna return set meta table. And there we go, now I got our player class. So I'm gonna pass the player, of which is going to connect to it's going to be a property in our meta table. So we'll be player equals player, right? Then we'll have, what else? We'll have data, we'll make that a table, right? A table is just 2 brackets. Then I'm gonna have a function up here. This function is going to load the player data. This game is not published to Roblox, so that's gonna be a problem. Alright, so I'm gonna make this function simply just load data, and we're gonna pass player and is a argument. So I'm gonna have data store service equals game get service data store service, and then we're gonna get the store. So local store equals data store get data store, and we're going to name this test store underscore one, right? Because we're still testing. We don't want to use the actual data store we're going to use until we actually release the game. Because if we do, we will have to wipe all the data in that game, in that data store, which can get complicated. So we'll do local data equals this store get async, right? Because we're getting asynchronous, which basically means we're requesting to pull the data from the store using I don't know how Roblox does it, but normally it's using HTTP. But however Roblox does it, I don't feel like going into that. But and we're gonna save it under their user ID. So then we're gonna do or. So if it doesn't exist, right? So first it's gonna check, okay, data equals this, and if this is nil, it's gonna go ahead and get this. So the data is gonna equal, or the data is gonna be a new table, right? We're gonna have money equals 100, the wins equals 0, losses 0, and owned items. That's going to be an array or a table, and this will be our player data. So what we'll do is call the load data function inside of our meta table and just pass the player through. And now we just set up our load data function, right? This will be very important for keeping track of player saves so they'll actually have an incentive to keep playing. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is make a few functions. Function player class, add item or buy item. So we're gonna have the item name, right? The item name, the amount. So the amount's gonna be stored on server. Actually, I don't need to have the amount. So I'll just have that. And I'm actually gonna create a new module full of all our items, right? It's gonna be called item data. And I'm just gonna return a table here, right? So this table right here will have all of our data we're gonna like return. So we can do, okay, so if he wants to buy, let's say, a flashlight, right? I can just simply do flashlight, and we have the price, right? So now we have our flashlight. If we want to have a gun, maybe we can have this for 500, and now we return this. So now we can just do this. Watch this. So we can go up here, new local item data equals require game dot server storage dot modules item data. Now we have our item data, and now you'll notice it'll pop up item data dot flashlight gun, right? So now we have that. So we'll do local amount equals this, the item data. Remember how we set our item data to 100 and 500. We're going to do the item name, because the item name is going to be a string, which it's essentially going to be like doing this, right? So if we put item name is equal to flashlight, it will basically do this. But it's more, this is so it's more modulated, and it's easier to like, it's more, I guess, structured in the way that it works for multiple things. So now that we have that, we can all check. Okay, so if the local data will be self.data, because we're using a meta table, we use self to reference this right here. So if data.money is greater than or equal to the amount, or no, minus amount is greater than or equal to 0, then what we'll do, right? So they have enough money. We'll do data.money minus equals the amount. So now we have our purchasing. And then we'll do table.insert, or I'll actually make a dictionary. So we'll do data.owned items, right? Owned items. And we'll do item name. This will equal true. So now we'll check. Now we can do this. So and right. So and we're checking if they own the item already, and if they do own it, then we'll go ahead and return a warning, or we're warned already owned. item. Then we'll pass our player through, so self.player. This is so they can't purchase multiple of the same items and lose money. And that's our player class. So now we have our actual initialization of what we're going to do, right? So now we can save all of our stuff into one individual table. So let's say they have a flashlight, a gun, a radar, whatever. It doesn't matter. This whole function will do that. So now we have that. So now we got to actually set it up. So we'll do player class equals require game.server storage mod classes dot says dot player class, right? So we'll do game.players.player added connect function. This will fire whenever the player is added. And we'll do, I'm going to make a global table using shared. So shared.player_list equals an array. So shared.player_list, and we'll make a dictionary out of that with the player, the instance value of the player. So player equals the player class. We're making a new player class. Remember our .new function right here. So this will return a meta table. So essentially this will be our new player, right? So anywhere in the game we can reference, anywhere on the server side, we can reference this and it'll print out our player and all of our data, and we can call any functions using this reference. So now we're going to do our player. Now if you want to watch and you don't believe me, you're just like, oh, that's not true. Well, if I were to set up a remote event, replicated storage, I'll just show an example remote event. I'll just do a remote event. So game.replicated storage, right? Come on now, Roblox. Don't do this to me. Remotes.client.remote event on server event connect function, right? It doesn't matter. It always passes the player. So we'll do this and we'll go ahead and print this. Even though this right here, actually, I don't even need to put this in the same script. I can put it here. So I'll just name this test. So our test is equal to this. So now we can go game.replicated storage .remotes client .remote event. We'll fire server with our nothing. We don't have any parameters. So now if we run the game, we'll have our player class, all of our data, and we'll be able to, yeah, I have to enable HTTP, but or no, I have to enable API services. Let me just do that real quick. All right, now we won't have an error. I didn't set up the index function, but here, if we fire this, we notice, oh wow, we're in another script and we have the player data. Cool. So that's just to prove to you that you can get it anywhere. So global tables shared or _G or globals, or they work on any side. So if you have one on client side, you can call that table anywhere on client side and it'll work, and the vice versa with server. Now, one thing I forgot to do is do my index function. So I'm just going to go ahead and set that up now. So we'll just index our table, and that'll be our, now we have our meta table player class. All right. So now what we're going to do is actually set up our player class. So our character class. Actually, no. So I'll name it, now I'll just do a character class. So in our character class, this is going to deal directly with spawning into the game. So this will handle everything the player can do and access. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new function, .new, just like normal. We're going to return set meta table, right? And now we have our meta table. Now we have our class. We're going to do our index function. Index equals our table index. So whenever we index this table, it's going to get the key or the index or the reference, the function, whatever it is. We're going to pass through our player here, and we're going to do char equals player character or player to character added. Wait. So what this will do is if there's no character, then it'll go ahead and wait for a character to be added. And then we'll do char items is going to equal an array. Right, so this is going to PB is current equipped items. So what we can do is do this, and then we can have functioned this equip item, item name, and then we can do, remember how we did that shared dot player list. We'll do player equals player, right? Let's keep track. We can do shared player list, player dot self dot player, right? Because it's an object. Local player data equals this. So now we have our player data. So with this, what we can do is add a function into our player class, right? So this function is actually going to be called check item. So we'll just do check item. So and we'll give the item name that we want to verify that we own. So we'll do a for loop, right? A for loop. I have a video on those. If you don't know what they are, just checking it out. So we'll do for self.data.owned item. So for the item name owned and next self.data.owned items, we're going to do a for loop if item name. We don't even need to do a for loop. I can just do this. Self.data.item name or self.data.owned items, and we can just return the item name. So what this will do, okay, so if it doesn't exist, so we'll just do local can equip equals this, then check item name. So this will communicate with this module. Check item, yeah, should be the right name just to verify, yeah. So I forgot the equals, and now we have an equip function. So now we just gotta, okay, if they can't equip, then we're gonna go ahead and do, we'll have a models object. We'll just have an object. I'm gonna go get a flashlight from the toolbox. Flashlight. I'm trusting that it's not infected with anything. Yeah. And then we'll have a gun. I don't want like a Phantom Forces gun. Do I have to make one? I'll have to make one. I'll figure it out. So I'm gonna go ahead and make my money 1,000 just to prove the point that this works. So this is our base framework, right? So we'll do, instead of actually requiring the objects, we'll just get the path to the object. So we'll do game objects equals game dot server storage dot flash damn objects. So then we'll do if equipped, right? If they can't equip an item and this actually exists, find first child of the item name, right? If it exists, then what we'll do is do, to avoid memory, I don't have to call it twice. I'll just do equipable equals this and equipable. Then what we'll do is clone that. So local clone equals this clone. We have to clone it, otherwise it'll not work for everybody else. Then we have to do clone.parent equals self.player backpack. Now we have the player in the backpack. All right. So then this shouldn't be like this actually. Well, so I won't actually do that. What I'll do, add item. So I'll do this add item function, and I'll make a new function. This function is going to be called spawn. player, or no, character class spawn player. So what this will do is actually spawn the player. This has to happen. So we'll do this, right? Then we'll do that. I'm assuming, so can add, so this will check it. So we're going to assume if can add and equipable, then what we'll do is do char items, right? Self.char items, our item name equals true. And then what we can do is do a for loop for the item name slot equipped and owned and next self.char items, right? So we're doing a for loop. So now we got the item name and we're checking if the item name exists, and we're going to check, hey, does he have it actually slotted in his inventory, right? So if it's in this table, it'll go, okay, so now we can actually clone it to the player backpack. So now we have to actually set up the spawn. So we'll clone that into the player backpack. Then what we'll do is I'll set up spawn locations. Why am it's like I forgot how Roblox works. Here we are. I think there's a way to force spawn. I don't know. I'm looking it up. I'll just use C-frame then. I'll just put spawn parts. So this is going to be anchored. King-Clyde is false. Anchored is true. So I'll just keep a folder in workspace called spawn locations. So we'll name this, we'll just name it spawn. So we'll spawn to a random one. Doesn't really matter. Okay, so now we'll do local spawns equals game dot workspace spawn locations get children. This will get all the spawn locations, right? And then we'll do, I'm actually gonna do this real quick. So we're gonna do player game.players. The character auto loads is false. We'll set that to false. So the characters don't automatically load in, and they actually have to be ready to load into the game. The problem is this right here will not work anymore. So we'll just set this to no, but the player will always exist, right? And this will also exist. So now what we're going to do is, right, so we have to do this after the fact. We can't do it before because otherwise it won't be put in the backpack and it'll count as a respawn. So what we'll do is for the spawn in spawns do, right? We'll do, so we'll do self dot player load character, right? Now the character is loaded. Then we'll do self dot char equals player equals self dot player dot character or self dot player All right. Now it'll have to be like that. And then we'll do, just to avoid overlapping keywords, I'll go ahead and do, keywords are basically like local for all those stuff. All right, just for anybody wondering. So now we need to actually set the player's position to a spawn point. So we'll do self dot, no, we don't need a local. What the heck am I doing? Self dot char. Then we'll do set primary part C frame to the spawn location dot C frame plus vector3 dot new, right? So they don't actually clip through the floor. We'll do 0, 4, 0. And now we spawned our player to a random location. I did it wrong. Let me do this. Local spawn location will equal spawn math.random spawns. I'll just copy that. So we'll do math.random spawns. So we'll do spawns math.random, the number of spawns. So now we have our spawn location chosen, and we can actually spawn our player. Okay, then we loop through to equip the items that he has equipped. I'm actually going to give myself a flashlight, so flashlight, so I'll do flashlight equals true. And then I'll also be equipping my flashlight, this will equal true. So now I'll actually have our initialization, so I'm just going to make char init, right? So this will require our car class, character class. So we'll just do we'll do a bindable event. So we'll do a bindable event. This will be called start game, right? This will start the game, and everything will run off that, right? I will get into that next video, but right now I'm just setting up the base player framework, right? So now we'll do character class. I gotta change the name, and then we'll do game dot service script service dot events start game, right? Event connect function, right? So now we know the game is started, and we can actually do that. So in this player init, we can also do shared character list. We'll set that global to a global. And we'll do shared player equals I'll just name this start game. So now it's organized. So everything with the player will stay with the player, and vice versa. Everything with the game will stay in the game. So we'll do class.new, and we'll just pass the player through, because that's all it takes. So we have to do shared, and now we have our player init and our character initiation. Now we'll also do this. So is monster equals false, right? And this, I'll make a function called make monster self.monster self.is monster equals true. And then I will also do I make another table called status or health status. This is going to be an array. We're going to have health. This will equal 100. Then we'll have stamina. This will have 200 or 100, right? And then we'll have, yeah. So we'll have custom health properties, so we don't have to deal with humanoids. So now we'll do make monster. Yep. So then we'll do function check we'll do a died function. So then we'll basically just set our health status back to this, right? And then we'll connect this self to died function, right, to our character function. So we'll do self shoot. We'll do self.char.humanoid.died connect function. And then we'll just connect, we'll do self.died. And this will reset. I'm actually not, yeah, okay. I can do that. So then what I'm going to do is have a deal damage function. And this deal damage function is going to deal with dealing damage to the player. So deal character class, deal damage. So we'll do self health self dot health stats equal dot health minus equals amount. Or if there's no amount, we'll just return 0 or we'll give it 0, right? So we did that before. And then we'll do function run. So amount, or no. And then we'll have a little thing up here, right? We'll have running. So if he's running from the monster, this will equal false. So we'll do while self.running, right? So self.running, because it's a while loop. We will wait, so we'll wait, or no, we'll do this. We'll use os.clock. So local time equals os.clock. os.clock is essentially a faster way of using wait. So we'll do if time or os.clock minus the time is greater than or equal to 1, then what we'll do is set time to os.clock. And then we'll also subtract 5 stamina equals self.health stats.stamina plus equals 5. Or minus equals 5. Right. So now this will also have an issue. So we'll do a render step game.runService.stepped. Wait. And that's our running function. This is our damage function. This is our spawn function. This is our died function. And then in our died function, we need to check, okay, if self is less than or equal to 0, then what we'll do is do self.char.humanoid.health minus equals 0. Or is it equals 0. So once we'll just kill the player instantly. Okay, so then we'll do when they spawn, if he is a monster, right? So we'll do when he spawned. So let's check if self is monster, then our health will be 3 times more. So health.health, then health times equals 3. So we'll have 300 health. And we forgot to end a function somewhere. Yeah, okay, line 8, close 43. Yeah. I probably forgot a conditional, didn't I? What happened? Where's it at? It's probably at the if monster. Where's it at? End, right here. And that's our player. So now what I'm going to do is just show you an example of us loading into the game, and then I'm going to call it. Because we think we've made some pretty good progress in this game. Or recently. So I'm just going to do wait here. I don't really... I'm just going to do wait 5... We're going to wait 5 seconds. Then we're going to do 4. And next. do is our character list, and we're just going to call our load character function, right? Spawn character function, sorry. And so we'll do p spawn player after 5 seconds. So we notice we won't spawn into the game. We'll just see the base plate, wait 5 seconds, and I spelled C-frame wrong. And now we have our custom health. Wait 5 seconds, and we're here. Now we have our flashlight that I own, and now we have our spawn locations. Now, just to show you that this health actually works, what I'm going to do is use a part. I'm going to make another part. It's going to be called kill brick. Or I'm just going to make it kill brick. So what I'll do is I'll make a script in it. Obviously, we got to make it kill things. So local part equals script.parent. And I'll do part.touched, touched, connect function, right? And then we'll do the hit, and then we'll do if hit.parent find first child humanoid. Then what we'll do is do that hit.parent. Now we get the hit.parent. Now we'll do local hum equal, or if hit our game.players get player from character hit.parent. Then we'll go shared our character list our player here, right? This is just to test the script. You don't have to do this at all. I'm just gonna put that out there. Then we'll call our damage function. Remember our deal damage function? We will do this, and inside of it, I'm going to print self.health stats.health. So now we have our health, and then we'll do this, right? We'll do our deal damage, and then our amount will be 50, or we'll do 10 every time I touch it. I'll make this red, so I know where it is. I'm going to spawn in a random location. I hope it'll spawn far away. Please, thank God. You notice I'm not actually getting damaged, right? But whenever I hit 0, I die. And I don't respond because I don't have that enabled, right? And if you want to test this even further, you can go, okay, well, let's print self.health stats, and then we can do chair destroy. And when they die, you can have a function. I'm gonna show you how to have a function to have them set a camera to a specific place, right? So we wait 5 seconds, we spawn in, and we spawn miles away from the kill brick. I'm gonna go ahead and just drag myself over there on server. And what we'll do is walk on it, right? We're not taking any damage, and then we just die. And then we also see we reset our health and our stamina. If you want to see more of this series, please let me know. If you have any questions, let me know. I will leave this game uncopy locked. Have a great day.